Alright, I think we're ready to move on now. Make sure you're in object mode. We're going to go to add modifier, and we're going to add the multi-resolution modifier. So once you add the multi-resolution modifier, you can subdivide your mesh, and then you can step up and down in the subdivisions. So I subdivided it once here, let's say twice. Well, now you can see though that I can still step down all the way to before we did anything to it at all. And the same thing goes in the sculpting. You can step up and down, you can sculpt on it a little bit. If you notice that you need to work on the form a little bit more, you can step back down, and it's really nice. The thing you have to be careful of is if you get too many levels in here, things will slow down quite a bit. And the other thing is, you might wonder why we didn't use the multi-resolution before. You do not want to use a multi-resolution if you need to edit the actual topology of the mesh. If you're going to do that, you want to do that first, or you need to apply the multi-res and then go make your edits and then apply the multi-res back onto it. So now that we have the multi-res turned on, let's go. I think one of the things that I want to do is I think I want to move around the length of these fingers a little bit. So if I go into sculpt mode and use the elastic deform brush, I can go in here and I can pull things out. That might be a little bit too far. Actually, that doesn't look too bad right there. Alright, so that should be good enough for right now. So bringing in a little bit of reference, we can see some of the forms and stuff that we want to work on. Like for instance, there's a bony form that goes like down the center in between each knuckles. And I definitely want to start getting some of that stuff in here. And another thing too is I'm trying to go for the old school, but a little bit of my own take on it. So I am going to be changing things up a little bit here. I'm going to raise up this knuckle. Actually, I think I'll raise up all of them. Let's take the radius down just a little bit. All I'm doing right now is trying to push this together a little bit, make that form a little bit more pronounced. You want to pull some of the forms out and you want to push some of them in. And again, how much you can do that is going to be just dependent on how much geometry you have to work with. So essentially, you want to subdivide at a level, you want to work the geometry and get things as close as you can in that level, and then bump it up and do it again. Alright, so now those forms are starting to poke through, which is nice. Turn that strength down a little bit. Now obviously you can see that at this level of detail we can't add all those little teeny tiny things that are in there. Right. So now in this area right here, we're going to pull this out a little bit. This is where we want to get ready to start shaping out that area that transitions from the fingers to the claws. Now, something else that I don't care for is just how straight cut off these are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase my radius here, and I'm going to use the elastic to form. So you can see how you can grab things and just pull them around to really kind of get those shapes that you want. There we go. Trying to build up the volume on this finger a little bit more. Also trying to make it a little less uniform. That's why you'll see me kind of scrubbing over it like this. That'll give you a little bit more of a bumpy look to your surface. You'd use strokes that are straight like this if you just wanted to pull them out nice and even. So we're going to have the same issue here, but I need to pull this out a little bit first. That's starting to look better. Just like before, we want to pull this out. And then we use the elastic deform to shape it. We'll come in here again and raise this up. Do the same thing. We'll use the elastic deform to shape it. We'll pull it back up into place. And then this step should be done. I know that it takes a lot of time, and I know that watching some of this stuff is boring. I'm just trying to show people every step of the way, the progress and how I approach things. When you're doing it on your own and you get good at it, it'll go a lot faster. If I was doing this and I wasn't recording it, I would be doing it a lot quicker than what I'm doing it right now. I'm just trying to make sure that I don't leave out any steps. And ultimately, in the end, I mean, it just comes down to how much time you want to spend on it and how well you want it to look. I mean, if you get to a point where you're happy with it, then call it done. Okay. Let's take a look and see how things are. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good for that level of sculpt. All right. Thanks for watching.